Hi, this is Instructor Greg Hobbs, and we're going to talk about planning. And this is from Fundamentals of Management, course number 923. Okay? MTGM, I believe. Anyway, planning. So, what do we want to know about planning? Well, the definition of planning has two paths. First, you have to select a goal. Then you have to develop a strategy and tactics to achieve that goal. And one of the questions I asked in my class, and hopefully you can see these slides clearly, if not, then you can see them on Moodle, and very quickly is, do you have a plan? What are your career plans? What are your career plans on the job that you are currently working on? Some of you may be saying, well, I want to work here long enough and hopefully get an H-1 visa or get a permanent position within this company, or learn as much as I can and move on to somewhere else. But you should have some type of plan for your career and where the direction in which you are going to be going. It shouldn't just be, I shouldn't say it shouldn't. You should consider at least, thinking about what the future holds. What were your dreams? So planning starts with a goal that you're actually setting. And sometimes a goal starts with either someone maybe giving you that goal, or it's something that you want to achieve. But in a company, usually that goal is that they are going to produce a new type of product or a new type of services. So basically, good planning can produce, a focus goal. It can direct the effort. It can help intensify the effort and help things be persistent. And again, it can assist in really developing the strategy and the tactics that you're going to pursue and conduct in order to make that plan and get to the end result of the plan. Okay? Some possible negatives of planning are things like, you may be thinking kind of pie in the sky. It may not be realistic of how your plan will work out. There could be changes, and you have to be prepared to adapt to those changes. And sometimes changes may be where you can't at all. The plan could be too abstract, meaning that the plan could be too broad and that there's no way that it really can be implemented well. Okay, so making a plan that works really starts out really with several major parts. One of them is good goal setting, and also being committed to that goal, and having the steps and resources to actually fulfill the action plan, and then tracking where you are. One of the things that Dr. Chan has talked about in some of the joint seminars is the fact that he keeps a book of everything that he has to do. He writes it down. And a lot of times that's really what we need to do, especially if we're planning, especially in the workplace. You really need to write things down and make sure that you know where you are and where things are being tracked. I know I have to do it because I have quite a few Moodle students that I have to try and keep track of. So I have to implement a very good and solid plan in order to do that. All right, a good tracking system. And we do have that at ITU with our database. And then I also have to stay flexible, really to the point that in some cases, the plan can't really be in concrete, but I have to be flexible and because of change. So when we look at it, and we look at top to bottom planning, top management basically starts with the firm's vision. It starts with the vision and the mission. Okay, and that vision basically is the inspiration, the inspiration of the company, of the organization. It's part of that inspiration statement of an organization, with that enduring purpose, that mission, and how are we actually going to really accomplish these things. How are we really going to do that? What is our mission? That statement of a company, basically overall goal that unifies the company-wide efforts, that basically towards its vision, it stretches and challenges the organization and possesses a finish line and a time frame. So those really are what the vision is of a plan or even a company. Middle management, that's the tactical piece. Those are the people, the tactical plan. How are we going to get this? How are we going to get this done? How is middle management going to specify how the company will use its resources, its budgets, and its people over X period of time to accomplish this plan? Then the lower level management, basically what they're really doing in the in lower level management, what they're doing is basically they are guiding the daily activities of production and of services within the company. And so that's how, towards the end, how what we call lower level management, maybe people like yourselves out there who are business analysts, you should ask yourself, well, how are you part of the plan? What part do you play in this project that you're working on, or whomever you're working for? Okay, so 5 steps to rational decision making. And when we talk about planning and we talk about, really managing people and managing a team, we have to talk about how do we really define the problem that's within the plan? How do we establish and weigh the criteria? How do we generate various alternatives? How do we evaluate the alternatives that we have? How do we determine what the best solution is? Okay, so think about that as you're out there and you're on CPT or you're working for a company, regardless of what your position is in. As you sit in on various meetings and you talk with various people, determine how, and you're analyzing and trying to implement something. Understand what the problem is. How do they weight things within that problem and the criteria, which helps you come to what type of solution that you should be thinking about bringing to these people. What are some of the alternatives? How do you generate those alternatives? And you generate those alternatives by listening to what that end customer has to say, the person who you're talking to, okay, and your experiences, okay? All right. So some of the problems with rational decision making, which we just talked about, is that you may be limited. Don't put yourself in a box. That's what bounded rationality is. Don't put yourself in a box. Maximizing and satisficing, basically, again, it's one of these things. The most important thing to remember here is don't put yourself in a box when it comes to decision making. Think outside. Think of other things. How do you really solve these problems, and what are, again, some of those alternatives? Techniques for group discussion. Really, I'm going to go straight to the last bullet, number 4, which is brainstorming. So you really want to, look at how are you really going to brainstorm with people. And it's not just, it's with people. It's with your peers. It's with people who are outside of the department. There's nothing wrong with discussing, the issue at hand or the problem or the project that you're working on, provided it's not confidential, and really and brainstorm with people on what the possible solution could be. Sometimes it's good discussing it with people who have nothing to do with your company, as long as you're not violating any confidentiality rules. So that's really the last slide in this series. So what I'd like some of you students to do, since we're talking about planning, is I really want you to think about, what is your plan for your career? Do you have a plan? Assess, what it is that you're thinking about doing for your future, and develop a plan. And I would like you to at least email me 5 bullets and how you would outline your career plan and over the next year. Okay? The other thing you need to do is think about how you're planning for your education. How are you going to complete your education? What is your plan, again, to finish your schoolwork? Anyway, I'm going to sign off now, stop this little 10-minute section. And if you have any questions, you can certainly contact me, Greg Hobbs, Instructor Hobbs, at 408-466-3335. You all should be doing the Moodle quizzes. If you have any problems with Moodle, please send me an email, ghobbs@itu.edu. Thank you very much, and I look forward to giving you the next segment. Okay? Bye.